In this video, I'm going to teach you how to break a sugar addiction. Hi, I'm Dr. Zarowski from NewVisionExcel.com. If you're new to the channel, it is such a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification to join our notification community, and we're going to help you excel your health and your life. In this video, we're talking about how to break a sugar addiction. This is a really big deal because you've probably seen my other videos and heard me talk about how sugar prematurely ages you. It causes all types of chronic conditions like diabetes. It drives inflammation, which leads to severe conditions like heart disease and cancer. And so anyway, when we want to really increase our health, we have to decrease our sugar intake. Sugar is directly correlated to so many different health crises that many people face today. And the average person actually consumes over 100 pounds of sugar. And this is 26 times more sugar than people consumed 100 years ago. So anyway, you get the idea. And so it's very important that we really take this sugar problem and we work to reduce sugar and break our sugar addiction. So a lot of people think, well, you really don't understand this problem because breaking a sugar addiction is really hard and you've never been there. And truthfully, I grew up just like everybody else on a standard American diet, eating a lot of carbohydrates, drinking a lot of sodas, eating candy bars, and really not paying attention to my sugar intake. So when I decided to pivot and start living a healthy lifestyle, sugar addiction was a big problem for me. And one of the reasons it's a big problem when you decide to come off it is because sugar acts like a drug on the body. You know, just like cocaine, it activates a lot of the same centers in the brain that make you crave more. And when you actually break this sugar addiction, typically you're going to get some different symptoms of headaches. You're going to go ahead and get like dizziness and shakiness and fatigue and crashes. And so anyway, breaking that sugar addiction is not easy by any means. So when it comes to breaking it, I'm going to tell you it will be a little bit of a tough time, but what I'm going to identify here for you is how you can do it and make this process much easier using some of the same strategies that I use with many of the clients that I work with. So first, let's talk about identifying sugar. And so this is important because if we are consuming sugar on the daily unknowingly, then what's going to happen is we're just going to continue to crave it. The more you eat, the more you crave sugar. And so when we look at how to identify it, first let's look to our carbohydrates. So if we're eating a lot of white pastas, if we're eating a lot of bread, if we're consuming rice, these sorts of carbohydrates, they're breaking down as sugar and they're going to really just cause this whole sugar addiction thing to be continuous. And so we have to break that carb cycle in eating excess carbs if we want to break the sugar addiction. The next big thing that we have to look out for is there's 50 plus names that sugar is labeled as. So when we look at all the different names, many of them end in O. So we look at high fructose corn syrup, we look at dextrose, fructose, look at those O's, and they come in all these different names basically to hide it in the package so that people don't understand what they're looking at and unknowingly consuming massive amounts of sugar when they're trying not to. So we have to be able to identify those names there. And that is another way. Now here's the thing too, is that when we're taking or when we're looking to remove sugar from our diet, the best thing that we can do in order to help with this whole process is try to make lateral moves, okay? So when you're coming off of soda, for instance, you know, look to sparkling water. And then when you're coming off of sweets or candy, you can use like stevia sweetened chocolate so that you're not raising your blood sugar and you're still kind of fulfilling that sweet craving, okay? So try to make those lateral movements in order to actually make this process a little bit easier for you, because sugar acts like a drug, and when you break that sugar addiction, you're going to get cravings, you're going to get symptoms of blood sugar crashes, you're going to get fatigue, you possibly even get headaches. But the good news is it's only going to last about just a little over 3 days. And so when you break this cycle, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Next big thing that we can do here is we can change the way that we're eating. Okay, when we look at a lot of these different shakes that are available to help balance blood sugar, one of the things that the good quality ones actually have in them is fat, protein, and fiber. Okay, so increasing our fat intake and eating moderate amounts of protein and increasing our fiber intake is going to help balance that blood sugar. It's going to help balance that insulin, and that's really key when we're looking at breaking the sugar addiction. balancing insulin out by consuming these types of foods right here is going to be really, really important. So make sure that you're definitely adding that to your list of things to do. Next here is nutrients. So we want to make sure that we're using proper nutrients in order to help break this sugar addiction and make this process as easy as possible. And when we look at the nutrients I listed here, they do a couple things. First of all, they support glucose metabolism. They also support insulin activity and insulin sensitivity. So the first one on our list that we want to use is B complex. B complex is going to be really important, and it's not just taking a particular B vitamin, but it's taking all the B vitamins, B1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So taking a good quality B complex will really help. Chromium is going to really help with the impact that glucose has on the body, okay? So if we want to balance that blood sugar, chromium is a very powerful mineral that will support that. Now, cinnamon is very important in this whole process in balancing the glycemic impact that meals have on your body. So using cinnamon is powerful as well in this whole process. Now the next is two powerful antioxidants that also support the glucose metabolism, insulin sensitivity, and insulin activity, and that's green tea and alpha lipoic acid. So when you want to break that sugar addiction, balance out those insulin levels, add these different nutrients to your daily intake, and it's really going to help you in that process. The last thing I want to mention here is gut health. When it comes to breaking the sugar addiction, it's so important to look at the microbiota, referring to the ecosystem within the gut. And so when we look at even diabetics, for instance, they always have problems with their microbiota. They also always have problems with just their gut in its entirety. And so when we go and look at reversing diabetes, we always look at gut health, but when we look at breaking sugar addiction, we also look to gut health, because problems such as yeast overgrowth or pathogenic bacteria overgrowth is all going to lead to this sugar addiction cycle. The way that we can work to break the sugar addiction by supporting gut health is by working to heal the gut lining, and we also can use things such as probiotic strength, which is just a very powerful probiotic that is going to go in and help bring down those yeast levels and bring down those bad bacteria levels and support a good, healthy microbiome within the gut here. So if we want to break this sugar addiction, this is how you do it. Implement these different strategies right here, and you're going to find that you get great results with breaking your sugar addiction. And when you break that sugar addiction, your health is surely on the rise. So be sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also if you want to learn more about sugar addiction and the bad effects that sugar has on the body, check out my other videos over here, and I will see you in the next video.